Yo, what up guys? Welcome back. The fun has come to an end and unfortunately I'm going to be covering my PCT protocol. I'm going to go over the actual extra drugs I like to add in PED wise, and then the actual PCT drugs, and then how I change my training. So we'll start off with kind of my stats so far. At the end of the cycle I was 251 morning weigh-in, and 2 weeks later now it is a 233 weigh-in in the morning, so almost 20 pounds. The first week I was off of everything. I dropped the MK677 and that dropped about 7-8 pounds of water like right away. And then it was like chilling around like 240-ish, and then like 243. End of the week, like I dropped to like 237, and then the next day it was like 233. So basically you get like a big ion shift and the water kind of flushes out of your muscles and all that, like just pretty much instantly. So that's what's been going down. I pretty much I dropped the food a little bit. I was eating over like 900 grams of carbs, but now I'm down to like 700. So that's kind of what I'm chilling at right now. So I was trying to hold on to it, but that water shifts like right away. So I was pretty full. Obviously at the end of a bulk, you can notice a big difference like right away because the extra body fat doesn't show as much when you're as full. So now the body fat shows a little more, a little bit softer. That's with me. The protocol I actually like to run. So keep in mind, this is an important part. I run HCG through the whole cycle all the time. 500 IUs 2 times a week. If you look that up, that keeps you just under baseline. So that's what I like to do. Sometimes I'll take a little less or take a week off or something, but basically 500 IUs 2 times a week. Run that through the whole thing. Just keep that in mind. It doesn't change anything for you at all. Actually, the protocol will be exactly the same. But what you do is you take the last shot and you train like normal that week, keep all the orals and everything going, just like everything's good. And then that next week after, you take a deload off the gym. You don't take any orals, obviously, you let everything clear. And then what I do is I start dosing Arimidex at 1 milligram every other day. For that first week, you're deloading. And then that following week, so you haven't taken a shot for 2 weeks now, you start the Nolvadex. And that is 20 milligrams a day for 4 weeks. I know some people like to front load with 40 milligrams on Nolvadex, but I think it's just do something light and just do 20 milligrams for 4 weeks, 20 milligrams a day. And if you're doing the HCG like me, you stop the HCG the day that you start the Nolvadex. And then the Arimidex, I'll keep that going at 1 milligram every other day for that first week, and then I start tapering off after that. And after that week, I go down to 0.5 milligram every other day. And then the third week of PCT, I'll do 0.5 milligram like the 3 day, and then 0.5 milligram on 4 days after that. And then that fourth week on PCT, I might take a Arimidex like once, like 0.5 milligram. That's about it. You have to taper off of Arimidex, keep that in mind. If you basically have your estrogen low from Arimidex, you can't just stop it because it's bound to the estrogen. It'll just dump it and you'll just get a big estrogen spike, and you don't want that, obviously. So that's the protocol with the actual PCT drugs. The PEDs, so the fun stuff that I like to add in, I think the best thing you could add in for PCT is cardarine. If you look at all the things that it does basically everything that you are worried about or want during PCT. So cardarine, see if I remember the number, I think it's GW501516, if I got that right. And basically, if you look what it does, when you get off the androgens, you're gonna have a cortisol spike because your body's used to the high androgen load, and that's gonna negate the cortisol spike. It's also gonna improve insulin sensitivity and improve carb and fat metabolism. So those are things you really need when you come off the androgens, because your body's shifting and it's not used to it, so it's gonna shift in a way worse way, and it's gonna put on fat easy. And it is, obviously the cortisol is gonna go up and you're gonna be able to lose muscle from the cortisol also. So do that. You definitely wanna add in cardarine. I think it's a perfect drug. It's gonna help a couple other benefits as well that are kind of relevant to PCT, but not really, but we're looking at holding on to gains. So add that in. I think that's important. 20 milligrams a day is what I would recommend for 4 weeks. And then you can either taper off to like 10 for a while or to stop it after that. Depends on what you're doing, your goals. And the other thing I like to add in, it's light, and I have access to right now, is the carnitine. So I do injectable L-carnitine at 200 milligrams a day, every day on my workout days, so 6 days a week. That's a lower dose. Most people run it at like high, like 5 to like 800 a day. But the 200 milligrams a day, I'm planning more for the long term. It's not really for PCT. It's just for long-term adaptations and long-term cascades that I'm planning for just down the line. So you can run that dose pretty far, just keep that one going. And if you haven't seen my video, I did a video on how to homebrew your own carnitine, and it's super cheap and whatever, so I can just whip that up in like 20 minutes and have like a month batch. So I do that easy. I'll add that in, see how I like it. Those are the 2 PEDs I'm adding in. There's tons of other PEDs you can add in. I'll just keep it, that's just what I'm gonna do, pretty light. I'll make another video on drugs you can run off cycle. And that'll kind of cover all the drugs you can do on PCT as well. But we'll get into that in another time. So those are like the fun drugs. I got the PCT drugs and the training. So what I like to do differently for training after the deload, if you're planning out your drug use and you're training accordingly like you should, not being an idiot, you should be having your anabolics when your volume is the highest and when you need recovery the most. So it's going to improve your recoverable volume, your max recoverable volume a lot, so you can train a lot of sets and reps in the gym and be able to just recover like a fucking beast. It's not going to improve your strength directly or improve your central nervous system recovery ability directly. So what I like to do is when I'm on PCT or off cycle is do a strength-based program. So I'll do something like a 5x5. I do a little higher volume, just I don't like classic 5x5. They're like too much for beginner and like planning to, like if you're doing powerlifting or something. But I'll do something like basically just keep it like under 8 reps and just keep the actual sets and reps the same throughout, and just focus on increasing actual load or weight on the bar. So that's how I think you should train, because without anabolics you can still progress with strength very easily and you could probably make gains. And planning your actual training, like the hypertrophy block and then a strength-based block, is actually, if you do that correctly without steroids or anything, you're going to see gains because you need those kind of changes for adaptations to occur. With the steroids, it's a perfect combination and it's really synergistic. So I think you should train like that. Obviously it depends on your year-long goal, what sport you're doing and things, but that's where you would kind of hire a coach if you're more advanced. But if you're just basic, just basically plan a block like that. Super easy, super simple. One thing I wanted to talk about is with the why I don't do Aromacin on PCT. Aromacin is the better drug for killing your estrogen, so it's the same as Arimidex basically. If you're, basically my ideology behind it, if you plan on cycling kind of soon, like within 16 or 12 weeks, like I'll probably cycle in like 3 or 4 months, any time like within that realm, I would go Arimidex, because Aromacin is actually an androgen. So my idea behind it is you're basically trying to clear out all androgens out of your body as fast as you can and just let those receptors refresh and all the background metabolic processes behind it actually be able to like keep up and get back into homeostasis. So that's kind of my idea behind it. If you're not planning on doing a cycle within like 16 weeks or so, I would actually prefer Aromacin, because it's not going to tank your IGF levels, and it seems to be a little bit better for gains and just like mental clarity and stuff. And you don't need to taper off. You can just do like 2 weeks of the equivalent dosage of Aromacin. I believe that would be 25 milligrams would be equivalent to 1 milligram. You'd have to double check. But just do that for like 2 weeks into PCT, and then you can just stop it all of a sudden one day. You don't have to do that weird taper with like you do with Arimidex. So if you're not planning on cycling, do it like that, a little bit better. That's about it. My next video, I'm gonna kind of cover a little bit related, like all the fun like PCT, or not PCT drugs, but all the fun drugs you could take while you're off cycle. So that's a big ass topic. So I'm gonna cover that. So if you want to see that, subscribe. I would appreciate it a lot. If If you got any questions for me, you could hit me up on Instagram. I'm Dylan__Brett. I'll post it in the description. If you guys made it this far, I do appreciate y'all for watching, and take care.